Hey everybody, wanted to do a quick update on my waterfall tank here. I don't know if I'm going to have enough time to really get around to doing anything here in the fish room tonight, so I did want to have a quick chat about this tank though. A couple of things going on. One was the singing that was going on in this tank the other day, but we'll get to that in a minute, because more importantly than that is this new plant I've got, which I'm really digging. I like it a lot. But I have found, you guessed it, aphids on it again. These I'm hoping are dead, although they clearly are not. I gave them a little preliminary spritz with the hose, with the soapy water last night. You can see I got them all over the base of this one. Look at them all. If it'll ever focus. Anyway, you get the idea. You know what aphids look like, and they're all over this one. So I got to do something about that. Again, I don't know if I'm going to have time to do it. I really do need to get to it. Look how not only low the water level is, but look how tannin stained that water is. It looks like I've got weak tea in the tank. So I need to get in here and do the big water change. I did change the filter a few days ago, but you can see the water is already back to a trickle. Not quite a trickle, but it's greatly reduced. So I am going to need to change that filter again. I got to do that every couple of days, or I'll get down to where you virtually don't even see or hear any water flowing at all. But whatever this plant is, I can't wait to see what its flower spike is going to look like, because the leaves are just fantastic. I mean, look at that. It's just an awesome looking plant. I had no idea what this was when I bought it. I don't know why. I was expecting it to be sort of a salvia type plant or something like that. I don't know why I was expecting sort of a stem-like plant, but this is what I've got, and it's absolutely fantastic. I got all kind of new growth coming out down there. I'm really happy about it. So the other thing is I had this singing noise that was coming from up in here, and I did have one person point out that frogs can't actually sing. I do understand that. That noise is commonly referred to as singing. I get it that they're not actually, professionally trained opera singers in my tank. So the singing noise that I heard coming from my tank, I had quite a few people suggest that it could be a cicada. And I'm going to say no for several reasons on that. For one, cicadas are deafeningly loud. Here in Maryland, if you live anywhere sort of in the Maryland, Piedmont region, of even lower Pennsylvania, Delaware, a little bit of Virginia, we get not only the normal cicadas that you get on an annual basis, but we get those 17-year cicadas where they swarm the skies and so on and so forth. And on those years, you almost have to wear earplugs when you go outside. It's so incredibly loud. But a single cicada can be heard for miles away. They are loud. So if that was down here singing in this tank, as I told one person, my neighbors would wonder what the noise coming from my basement was. So there's no way that little faint singing sound that you basically could just barely hear at the top of the basement steps, but was loud enough to hear at the top of the basement steps. We were getting that, and I don't really think that was a cicada. Plus, cicadas are a very big insect. They move around, they fly. I see them out. When I'm out walking around in the woods, I can spot them. So in this tiny little environment, I really don't think that a big, fat cicada would elude my, sight, let alone not be flying around my basement and moving from place to place. So I'm ruling cicada out completely. Someone also suggested a lacewing, and I couldn't find any video of a lacewing singing, so I don't know what they sound like. But again, I'm going to go with the idea that they are a very large insect with big, lacy-looking wings, and would be very easy to spot if I had it up there. So I'm going with that. I still think it was one of my little dwarf African frogs. Someone suggested counting them. I counted one. I didn't see that. Doesn't mean the other two aren't in there, but I only saw one swimming around last night. In theory, there should be 3 in there. But these frogs can climb very easily, I'm sure. And, there's a direct path right up here, right along there. It wouldn't have to do any kind of amazing climbing to get up there. And they are fully aquatic, but I'm sure that if they stay wet, you know, if they're up here where the water is just splashing on them somewhere, they could get out of the water a little bit and sing. And I've heard them sing in the past. I've heard them in tanks before, and it sounds identical. It just sounds more sort of muted and quiet when they're in the tank, and I can see that they're underwater singing. So if one were to come out of the water a little bit and, let's say, be sitting on some wet moss up here and singing, I imagine it would be a lot louder, but not really crazy loud. It would probably be about as loud as what we were hearing. So, you know, all of these things are leading me to believe that I've got a frog up there somewhere singing. And don't get me wrong, that is a deep basin of water. I actually built this with the idea of possibly putting fish in that basin, and possibly putting fish, you know, like some guppies or, you know, little stream minnows or something like that. But we never went that route. So there is plenty of water up there for that frog to live quite comfortably if it climbed up there. So when I turn the lights out again tonight, that's when I hear it, when the lights go out at night, and then for about the first 20 or 30 minutes in the morning after the lights come on, and then it seems to go quiet. And that's been 3 consecutive days now that's been the case. So later tonight, maybe we will, in fact, you know what, I'm going to wrap the video up a little bit later tonight, and we will come back in here when the lights are out and see if we don't hear any singing going on. So sit tight, and I'll see you guys in about an hour. Alright, while we wait for nighttime, I turned the lights out on my tanks. I had to bring my trash down. And it is a strangely foggy, warm night out. So I thought I'd shoot a moment or two of video. Give you a little look around and let you hear what real tree frogs sound like. So those are all chorus frogs. And I believe chorus frog is just a sort of umbrella term for any type of singing tree frog. I don't think it's any specific species. But those are basically just known as spring peepers around here. Again, I'm sure there's 2 or 3 different types of frog over there, and I can even hear a bullfrog. But we've got the little stream across the street. There is a pond right here that you can't really see. And then, of course, this is a little quagmire here. We have a lot of springs on this street. And I'm not sure where the spring originates, but it actually flows across the street down here and then under a pipe and out into this. And then it just sort of weeps down into the ground. I guess it makes its way into the water table. So just kind of a cool looking night out. So a couple of minutes of video, as I said, while we're waiting for the lights to go out in the fish tank, and then hopefully when we go back inside we'll get to hear a different kind of frog. Alright everybody, I'll see you on the inside. Alright everybody, believe it or not, we're back in the house. We've got the singing going on, but the lights are out. I'm going to try to get them turned on without scaring everybody into silence. So let's see what happens when this light comes on. I'm going to turn the lower light on first. Alright, now we started this video Thursday evening, and it is now late Friday night. I was actually getting ready to go to bed. I was planning on wrapping this video up tomorrow and just giving up. But I heard the singing, so I came back down. It's about midnight right now. And we've got a little bit of singing noise going on. So I forgot where we left off and what the intention was going to be. I thought we were maybe going to come in here and see if we could identify it. But I'll tell you, there it goes, it stopped. After I shot the opening sequences, while the lights were still on, it started singing, and I came down here and I started looking for it, and I looked around without really moving anything. I was just sort of looking around with my ears, you know, if you understand my meaning, just trying to identify where it was coming from, and I could not pin it down. Every time I thought I'd get near it, it would sound like it was coming from somewhere else. It was really strange. I even went around the back of the structure and put my ear up against it to see if I could really hear where it was coming from, and likewise I never really got a solid sound on it. So that was all happening while the lights were on, and I figured, well, if they're already making a noise with the lights on, it'll be, you know, easy when I come back in half an hour, and that was it. It stopped. I did not hear the singing since then. And again, I had given up for the night and gone to bed, turned the lights out about an hour ago, and you know, I waited and waited and we got nothing. And so of course, now that I've come down and started talking again, we've gotten it to stop. So I'm still not sure what it is. I'm really undecided. I don't think it's the lacewing. I'm sure it's not a cicada, but I'm still not 100% sure it's a frog. It could be some other type of insect. The general idea that most people seem to think about is that one of these logs that I've brought inside, or when I dug something up, a clump of earth that came in with it might have had some insect grub or a cicada larvae buried in there or something like that. And that's certainly a reasonable theory. But if it is, I don't know what it is. I really don't know what that singing is, if it's an insect. It just started up again for a moment. But this is a familiar singing that I hear, and it just, to me, it just sounds like a frog. It sounds like a tree frog singing, but it's really quiet for tree frogs. Tree frogs are sort of known for being really loud, and I don't know how I would have gotten a tree frog down here. So it's definitely not one of those spring peepers we heard. I've got millions of them. I've actually seen them in the trees and stuff before, but this time of year they're around the ponds and the streams and bodies of water because they're out there, you know, doing their thing. It's springtime, and very soon when the weather gets a little bit warmer, it's going to be loud outside with the spring peepers going. They get incredibly loud. So I wound up just doing another water change. I wound up spraying the whole place down for aphids again, and while doing so, I wanted to make sure I, you know, cleaned all the water out of the tank in case any soap got in there. I was a little bit heavy-handed with the soap this time, so I did a great big water change, and you can see how beautiful and clear the water is, considering I just did a water change last night as well. So that's two back-to-back, and both of them were very large. So we've got a nice, good-looking tank, and I'm really hoping we get that singing going on again. Me standing here in front of it talking never really seemed to bother it before, but it really seems like it's going to not do it this time. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up because I think that's about the best we're going to get. If I do get any more of it, I will try to find it, and I am hoping to get some more stuff done up here in this top tier. We've been having really rainy, dreary, gray, wet weather the last few days, and it's not been conducive for me going outside. Oh, there it goes again. It's starting, but then it's stopping. So I'm going to wrap it up in any case and just say thanks for watching this one. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you're subscribed. We will get to the bottom of this someday, I hope, and find out what exactly is up there making those noises. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you real soon in the next one.